Tropical Storm Barbara strengthened into the first hurricane of the 2025 East Pacific hurricane season earlier today, and Tropical Storm Cosme is about to become the second. And we're still watching for potential tropical development in the Atlantic over the next couple weeks. In this video, I'm going to be showing you the latest information on the tropics, starting with the Eastern Pacific, where we have 2 hurricanes potentially going on right now over the Eastern Pacific, and also behind these 2 hurricanes, we're still watching this big area of showers and thunderstorms around Central America. This could actually create another tropical system in the Eastern Pacific, and then potentially some activity in the Atlantic over the next couple weeks. And here's the latest information on Hurricane Barbara. We currently have winds of 75 miles an hour and a minimum pressure of 991 millibars from the latest advisory, but this is actually gonna weaken down. Like, I'm sure that in the next advisory, this is actually not gonna be a hurricane anymore. By tonight, it's not gonna be a hurricane anymore. It is still the first hurricane of the season from earlier today, but then it's actually gonna quickly weaken down and eventually dissipate, even as soon as tomorrow night. But then notice Tropical Storm Cosme is still strengthening. Apparently, we currently have winds of 70 miles an hour, but then it could actually reach 75 miles an hour. So it could become a hurricane later tonight, and so that'll be interesting to see if it does. And I think the Dvorak technique is actually also showing that it is already a hurricane, so that'll probably be reflected in the next advisory, according to the NHC, before weakening back down to a strong tropical storm by tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, and then it also starts to move into cooler water, really, and really starts weakening down along with Barbara. But then notice we also have an area of tropical development, a 70% chance of tropical cyclone formation in the next 7 days. So behind these 2 systems, we have another area to watch in the Eastern Pacific. Yeah, here's the Dvorak technique for Tropical Storm Cosme. Actually shows that it's a hurricane already. And so we have the second hurricane of the East Pacific hurricane season if the next advisory updates Cosme to hurricane strength. The latest track guidance for Hurricane Barbara shows just takes it off to the northwest and then just really doesn't do anything else with it after that. And it could, like, whatever's left of it could actually turn off to the west and just kind of meandering in the East Pacific as pretty much a remnant low, really not much of anything, a post-tropical cyclone. But the intensity guidance shows it could either, the highest end models show it could maintain its intensity for a few more hours, but really all the guidance really shows it weakening down significantly, even dropping below tropical storm strength within 36 hours. So it's pretty much it's been a hurricane for a short period of time, and now it kind of goes away after this. Tropical Storm Cosme also, the track guidance takes it pretty much away from land areas, away from Baja California, just kind of turns it north and then off to the north and west over the next couple days. And the intensity guidance for this one, actually, it's supposed to become a hurricane briefly tonight before it also just pretty much drops off. Here's a look at the GFS model. So this is Hurricane Barbara, this is Tropical Storm or Hurricane Cosme. And these storms are just kind of headed out into the Eastern Pacific, but notice they just kind of merge with that dry air and really just kind of fade away. But then notice this in the Eastern Pacific, kind of further closer to Central America, we have this big area of moisture. And notice at the end of this week, kind of going into the weekend, even by Monday, June 16th, so this is early next week, then finally this starts to become a tropical system and actually intensifies to a pretty strong system, at least on the GFS model. And then that it gets a bit closer to Mexico before it races off to the west, really gets destroyed. But then we also have still more stuff going on, at least in terms of moisture, potentially either in the Eastern Pacific or or over Central America. In that case, it's not going to turn into a tropical system necessarily, but also there's the potential for tropical development in the Atlantic. But the thing is, interestingly enough, notice how the latest version of the GFS is not really showing a big hurricane in the Atlantic or anything like that, which is interesting how it seems to have also pushed back the tropical development. It was showing around something starting around June 14th, 15th or so, but now it's not showing anything significant until June 25th, potentially, on this run. So that's interesting. Here's a look at the Euro model showing a similar thing here where kind of by this weekend we already have, actually, if the Euro model's developing this storm system in the Eastern Pacific a bit faster, showing a tropical depression, tropical storm already there by June 14th or so this Saturday, and also even going into June 15th, a tropical storm, but then it doesn't really intensify that much and it kind of disappears. But then notice what happens with this. We have a hurricane already by June 17th, so another storm system in the Eastern Pacific. We have Barbara, we have Cosme, then there's this disturbance, and then this other storm, so a fourth storm system in the Eastern Pacific, and this is the Euro model is intensifying this one very significantly, all the way down to a 962 millibar, potentially Category 3 hurricane in the East Pacific, and this goes all the way into like June 22nd before it really starts to weaken and really pushes off to the west. But instead of showing anything in the Atlantic, the Euro model is focusing this tropical potential over the Eastern Pacific. So that's something quite interesting to see, because the GFS model is also not really showing much of anything in the Atlantic on this run. Previous runs have shown different things. It's like some runs show this major hurricane, and then others show maybe a tropical storm, and then others show nothing. So it's kind of all over the place, and when that happens, it's the model is pretty uncertain on what's going to happen. And also, if it keeps pushing it back, kind of seems like maybe it's not going to happen. But the ensembles are actually showing that, yeah, the storm system kind of this weekend into early next week, that disturbance that we saw, that one is most likely to do something. Then behind that one, we have potentially something in the Eastern Pacific or around the Caribbean or something like that. Like, we'll have to see, because even this run of the GEFS is not very certain on anything happening in the mid-June timeframe. Now they're pushing back the tropical development all the way past June 22nd. So that's interesting that the GFS and the GEFS are kind of pulling back on the hurricane forecast for the Atlantic and the Caribbean and the Gulf. The GEFS is also showing with the MJO kind of the most favorable conditions for tropical development are over Central America, but they're showing focused more on the Eastern Pacific, especially going into the next few days, like Thursday, June 12th. We have June 13th, Friday. Going into the weekend, it's still focused on the Eastern Pacific, so that's where that disturbance is, and that's most likely to develop there. But then we'll have to see, because now they're showing past like June 16th, June 17th, that the most favorable conditions are directly over Central America almost. We'll have to see if something's able to form on the Eastern Pacific side or the Atlantic side. So that's where it gets tricky because of this. And then by June 20th, the GEFS in this run is pulling it back to the Eastern Pacific side. So if the rising air is concentrated over the Eastern Pacific, that's going to help fuel some tropical development there. If it's concentrated a bit further east over the Caribbean or the Gulf, then we might see something there. The Eastern Pacific is very active, but of course, but I'm like, okay, the Atlantic, we'll have to see if a storm system is able to form on that side of Central America. Also, here's the MJO 40-day forecast, just kind of showing the same thing, just in a different way. You have favorable conditions all the way to the end of the month, but a lot of it seems tilted more towards the Eastern Pacific, so that's definitely something to watch. And yesterday's video actually went into more detail on how what's going on or not going on in the Atlantic is lining up with the climatology and what the forecast models are expecting in the longer range time frame, like later this month, even into July, even into this time frame. If you like this video, please be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already, share the video, and make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications for more weather updates on the tropics. Thanks for watching. Extreme Weather Zone out.